Hey everyone, it's me, Arthur Kade, welcoming John DeLuca, star of Teen Beach 2 and Netflix's Staten Island Summer. So get ready for a great day behind the velvet rope. Hey everyone, it's me, Arthur Kade, and John DeLuca. You and I were just talking about you're a busy man. Teen Beach 2, and then something I'm super excited about, Staten Island Summer, because
Yes.
Staten Island, I grew up in Northeast Philadelphia, which might as well be a smaller version of Staten Island. So I can't wait to see what you and all the SNL guys and girls did with it. But first, Teen Beach 2.
Totally.
Crazy how big this thing became.
Yeah. It's when we made the first one, we didn't really know what we were getting into. You know, we finished it. We knew we had a fun time making it. It was special to us, but it wasn't until it came out and we had this uproarious response that we're like, oh man, this is a different sort of thing. So to be revisiting it and have a sequel come out, super exciting. Yeah.
One of the things I love, we were watching you on GMA last week, and you guys are just killing it with the dancing and the singing. I mean, it's really entertainment. Talk to me about when you see how much kids talk to this franchise.
Yeah.
It's got to be interesting because Disney just builds you guys into these brands through this.
They're an extraordinary company to be working for, and you see this refined product on Good Morning America or in any of our dance numbers, but so much goes into creating that. And even just for our performances out here in Good Morning America and on The View, we did hours and hours of rehearsal. Even though they're dances that we knew already, we have to tailor them for these particular shows and these specific stages. And but yeah, our choreographer Chris Scott is just a genius. What he does with our dancers and our music, and these dancers that we're dancing with are just incredible. It's really humbling to be working with them.
I was talking to your co-star Molly Gray a couple weeks ago, and it's fascinating because being a Disney star is awesome. But then there comes a point where you start saying, all right, the next phase of my career, what is that going to be? Have you started thinking about here's where I want to be 3, 5, 10 years down the line? And then is there also a conversation internally about how do I begin to unbrand myself and rebrand myself into my new brand?
Yeah, it's an interesting sort of thing when you talk about the trajectory of your career because as an actor you want to be working first and foremost, and I've been so lucky to been given a couple different opportunities from Disney. I never did a series for them, but I did a pilot with them. I've done a couple guest stars on their shows, then of course Teen Beach 1 and 2. But it feels great to be working with people who believe in you and who create such incredible content. So I have loved working with Disney, but in terms of moving on, yeah, I think there will come a time when I maybe step outside of that. And I try and live in the present, but that it could be happening now. I'm open to anything, but Staten Island Summer is something that you and I were talking about previously. That is for me kind of my first big step outside of that.
It looks awesome. First of all, the talent you have in that project. I was just telling you, I was interviewing Bobby Moynihan last week, who's in the movie. Yeah. You have a ton of SNL people. Lorne Michaels produced it. Colin Jost wrote it. I mean, you've got some of the best comedic minds on this thing. Talk to me as an actor being part and leading in this thing.
Super intimidating because
Do you lose your mind? I'd be like, oh my God.
Absolutely. Because most of them live in New York. Most of the cast lives in New York, and they're all part of this family together. Because it's directed by Rhys Thomas, who's a resident director, within the SNL family. And like you said, Colin Jost wrote it, and Cecily and Bobby and Fred Armisen and Will Forte are all these incredible
comedic
SNL.
Geniuses.
Oh, they really are.
Geniuses.
So when I auditioned in LA, actually I sent a tape in, and then I had a chat conference over the computer with Colin and with Rhys to talk and to meet them a little bit in person because they were short on time, didn't have time to fly us back and forth, and very scary to be stepping into this family, but they couldn't have been better about it. They were so welcoming and so warm and made me feel comfortable taking chances and bringing my own stuff to the table, even though I wasn't I'm not an improv comedian by any means, and a lot of these guys have backgrounds in UCB and stuff like that. So it was a real education all around.
It's funny you mentioned that because the red carpet that I was talking to Bobby at was the 17th anniversary of the Del Close Marathon, which is UCB. So it's Amy Poehler and all the UCB founders do this thing. And I get to see an hour and a half of them improving. And you don't realize the genius of these people until you see them, because you're like, that's rehearsed. They spent 10 days doing that. Right. And meanwhile, they're like, oh, no, we just improv'd it all. When you're an actor on set, and that's where, it's one thing to see it on SNL, it's another thing to see a scripted movie, but when you see them doing a master class of what they know how to do, you're like, holy crap, these people are geniuses.
Really incredible.
What was it like seeing that?
I didn't know what to expect. So in coming from more of the Disney world, it's all very specific. And it's you hit this mark, and you say these lines the way that they're written. I came to set like, I know my lines, here we go. Okay, is this my mark? Okay, perfect. And my first day shooting, we're shooting this lifeguard scene with a big group of the lifeguards, and they start riffing and improvising and changing things, and I was like, okay, this is how it's gonna be. Like, I'm gonna have to stay on my toes here, and it was great. It forced me to kind of elevate myself, and that's what's great with surrounding yourself with just such talented people. Is it hopefully if you do it right, it elevates you, and it forces you to step up to the plate, and I was just basically trying to keep up.
Do you realize, does a thought process go to your head, wow, comedy is really hard, I have a whole different level of respect now?
I mean, it's something that I've always loved, and the whole timing thing, it's something that I feel comfortable doing, but I do have a tremendous amount of respect for it, and just kind of the work that goes into it, and watching kind of their clocks turn in their heads, and the way they talk behind the camera. Well, let's try this, let's try that. It doesn't just happen. But yeah, even more respect for the world of comedy than I had before. Absolutely.
Funniest person on set was?
It might be like an impossible question to answer. I know I don't want to cop out, but I mean, it's like you're sitting. You have your chairs, and you're sitting, and Fred Armisen is just sitting there, and he'll just do these bits that just I didn't even know him that well, and he's just talking about all this stuff, and you just kind of go with it. And Bobby hops in, and he just goes right along with it, and before you know it, they're 12 minutes into this bit that has nothing to do with anything. They're just making it up off the top of their heads, and they're staying in it, and very present in it, and very entertaining. I don't know, all those guys. It was a blast. I don't know, it's crazy.
You play a lifeguard, so tell me, what can people expect with it? What is it all about?
So the movie is it's about two friends who decide to be lifeguards for their last summer before college. And within that lifeguard world, it takes place in Staten Island at this club called the Great Kills Swim Club, which Colin Jost actually grew up going to as a kid, which is kind of cool. The story is loosely based on his life. And at this swim club, you're surrounded by kind of a host of kind of wacky character lifeguards. And we don't always take our job super seriously. And we have a boss who has kind of a big head, and we don't really respect him very much.
I love how you're measuring every word.
Yeah, I didn't want to say anything wrong, but yeah, and hilarity ensues, and just a lot of diverse characters. My character's name Anthony. He's a very Italian, Staten Island kid. He's got his gold chain on and his hair.
Did you have to break into accent?
I speak like this the whole movie. I have a shirt on probably maybe 20% of the time. But yeah, he's very Staten Island.
We're doing this interview now with you and Staten
Island. I'll just talk like that the rest of the time. I slip into it every once in a while.
Awesome.
Just because it's fun to do. But yeah, he wants to join the Navy, and he's not really the smartest guy. He's got the physical part down. He likes to go to the gym, but he's having a little problems passing the test. So.
Sounds so awesome, man. Congratulations on everything.
Thank you, man.
Everybody check out Netflix's Staten Island Summer, coming out, I believe, July.
It comes, July 30th.
July 30th.
A limited release in LA, New York, and Chicago, starting the 24th, I believe.
And Team Beach, too.
And Team Beach, too.
Phenomenon it is.